Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is Where Are They Now, where we take a look at how well games fare over time. We're taking a look at October of 2023, as well as 5 years ago at October of 2019, looking at all the games that were new to me in those particular months for a year ago and 5 years ago, and seeing just how well they've done over time. Specifically, we're going to be breaking this up into 4 categories for each year: the games that I didn't love to begin with, the games that I liked but didn't feel the need to keep, the games I kept but then did leave eventually, and the games that I kept and are still here. We're going to take a look at 2023 first, starting off, and timestamps are to everything down below, but we're going to start off with October 2023, the category of the games that I didn't love to begin with. We have Starfighters Rapid Fire, a game from Alleycat Games that was a bit of a kind of real-time rush as you pilot your ship across the board and try to take out your opponent. I thought it was a cute, gimmicky game, but that's kind of where it tapped out for me. I didn't mind it, but it also didn't overly impress. We have Mons and Mages, which was a crowdfunding game. It was Mons and Mages. I found that I don't think I actually ever reviewed it on the channel, but Mons and Mages was a prototype I got a chance to try out, and it just wasn't for me. I found the maintenance of it way too tedious and not satisfying enough. I don't know what it was about me, I don't know what it was about the game, but a lot of people seem to really enjoy it. For me, it just kind of fell very, very flat. Similarly, there's a game called Source, as well as Time Strike Shadow of Fear. Those are both kind of the same game. They're also prototypes. That was based on a giant kind of a HeroScape tile system, but with their own game involved. Again, the games were Source. There's a golf game. I think the system was called Source. There was a golf game, and Time Strike Shadow of Fear was the bigger game. Both of those didn't fully land for me. The golf game was cute, but too simplistic and a lot of setup for it. And then Time Strike, I just found was way too semi-co-op and not a game that I overall enjoyed. I love the system of Source, and I do want there to be good games for that system, but for me, the whole thing kind of unfortunately fell flat. And then lastly was Moon River. Moon River is the new King Domino game that I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember feeling that it was overly complicated and not overly rewarding for that. I'd rather just play King Domino, although Queen Domino is my favorite in that series, but honestly, none of them have really lasted for me in that genre, and Moon River just didn't work for me. For the category of games that I liked but didn't feel the need to keep, there was Keep It 100. Ironically, the first game is called Keep It. Keep It 100 is a game of trying to line things up in the order. So it has a question that they asked 100 people, and you have to guess, oh, I think it was more or less. So if you think 76 answered a certain way, you can go ahead and put it where you try to. Well, you try to put it in a number line. I'm explaining this poorly, but you're putting it in a number line of where you think the cards were answered based on the questions. It's very similar to Timeline if you ever played that, but it's just more like Timeline combined with we asked 100 people in more generic, opinionated areas. I had fun with it, but I'll always choose Timeline over it. So for me, Keep It 100 was an enjoyable game that I didn't feel the need to keep. From there, we had Classified Information. Classified Information was another game that I enjoyed, but also didn't feel the need to keep. That's another prototype. That's a kind of a two-player, what's the right way to describe it? It's kind of a semi-deduction-esque style game. I found it an enjoyable little puzzle, but again, not one that I felt the need to add to my collection. In the category of games that I kept, but then did leave my collection, and I will say, by the way, October, for whatever reason, if you look at the last few months of doing Where Are They Now, taking a look at the year ago, I had tons of new-to-me games. October 2024, I guess I didn't play a lot of new-to-me games because I only have 15 or so, although I will note, this is a random little tidbit behind the scenes and whatnot, looking at my app where I log plays, I have no logged plays for October 1st through 13th. I got nothing, which is not a chance on earth that I played no games. I think I just got stuck and just didn't log a bunch of stuff, which ironically enough, this October as well, I kind of went through a phase where I just didn't log a lot of stuff. I wonder what it is. Oh, the holidays maybe. Maybe the holidays do that. Interesting. I played a lot of games in October that I definitely didn't log, I'll tell you that much, because there's no way I went 13 days without playing any games. Either way, back to where we are over here. For the games that I kept but then did leave, we have Divinity Original Sin. That's a hard one to gauge because I played Divinity Original Sin, dove into it, I enjoyed the game, and held on to it for a bit, hoping to play it more. Ultimately, when it comes time to decide which campaign games get my time and attention, it is one that isn't sticking around. So I like Divinity Original Sin that I want to keep it and play it. I just have to make realistic choices with where my campaign time goes. So that one unfortunately left. We have Unrest from Handasaurus. Really enjoyable game. I still play it on Board Game Arena, but for the in-person copy whatnot, I find that there are so many small box games that I do have to pick and choose. I think Unrest is fantastic. It just did eventually get culled. And then lastly, for the category of games that I kept from last year and are still here a year later, we have 4 Shuffle, which is continuing to be an excellent experience that I thoroughly enjoy. We have Diced Veggies, which is an interesting one. That one I keep more for my kids than for myself. For me, Diced Veggies isn't good enough, but my kids find it very charming, and I find it fun enough to play. We have Horizon Forbidden West Seeds of Rebellion. This one gets a bit of an asterisk because I don't actually have it yet, but it's a prototype I played, a year ago, and I do plan on getting it. Although the fact that it lasted a year is not really true because, well, it hasn't lasted a year. It's not even here yet. Similarly, for the next category, we have Deceased. Not next category, next game, we have Deceased. Deceased is another one from another prototype that I played a year ago and definitely totally want, and I guarantee you it would be here a year later because Marvel Zombies is still here, but ultimately it's not here yet. But they're both games I played last October that I still enjoy. Theoretically enjoy, still enjoy is a hard word, theoretically still enjoy and would love to continue playing. And then lastly, for October of 2023, we have Ticket to Ride, Legends of the West. That is one that I played through the whole game the first time, but I have another copy waiting for a playthrough. I'm trying to, because currently, we have a very consistent 3-player game group right now, but as soon as you get to 4 players, we don't have consistent 4 players, meaning we do have 4 players in our game group, 5 players, whatever, but as far as like people who I can reliably say, you know what, we're going to play 15 games together, or whatever it is, 12 games for Ticket to Ride, I'm trying to decide whether I just jump in with 3, or whether I try to get one of our others to confirm and commit to playing 12 games. We'll figure that out, but that's a problem for another day. But the point is that I am excited to dive back into Ticket to Ride Legends of the West. It was a good game the first time around. I expect it to be a good game the second time around. And a little bit of time before I play it again is not bad because it means I'll forget everything that happened the first time. Or at least as much of it as possible. And so those are the games that kind of really lasted a year later. Although again, 2 of them have asterisks. The 4 Shuffle, Diced Veggies, Ticket to Ride Legends of the West, and then Deceased and Horizon Forbidden West with those asterisks. Taking a look at 5 years ago, we have a somewhat similar sized list actually, which is the first time, since I've been doing this, the first time that the 5 years ago is also like just the same size, which it's close enough. Either way, in the category of games that I didn't love, again, new to me 5 years ago, we have Kokoro, is that Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama or something? Either way, I don't remember much about it, but I didn't find it overly engaging. We have Run, Fight, Die Reloaded, which was a zombie game. You have your own little board, and zombies are approaching towards you as you roll dice Yahtzee style to try to take them out. I thought it was cute, not my go-to for either Yahtzee style games or zombie style games. And then we have Monolith Arena, which again is another one that just unfortunately I didn't find compelling enough overall. In the category of games that I liked but didn't feel the need to keep, we have Vikings from Z-Man, an older title that I played for the first time 5 years ago. I thought it was fun, but again, didn't really, like, Vikings is a good older game, but I think there are better games. It was just a good older game. We have Insider, which is one of those games where you have a person who doesn't have the inside information, so you have a bunch of people who are kind of working with known information and a person who's trying to bluff their way with known information. I always find those fun, never find them super compelling. Insider was another one that I enjoyed and didn't feel the need to own. And then lastly, we have Set a Watch, which I've since played subsequent versions of it, Swords of a Coin. The other one, the most recent one, what was the most recent one called? There's Seeds of Rebellion? No, that's Horizon Zero Dawn. There's Set a Watch for Swords of a Coin, I think it was called, and then the Set a Watch, I don't remember the newest one. There's the Doomed Run or something like that. There's a bunch of Set a Watch games. Either way, all of them I enjoy, but ultimately they aren't games that I hold on to because I find that the setup is a little bit too much for me. Just not too much. It's not too much. It's overly tedious relative to the game enjoyment that I get out of it, but ultimately it's a good game, just not a great game. In the category of games I kept but left, these are over the past 5 years, we have Arion and Naughtion. That's from the Oniverse series. Those are 2 there that I love the Oniverse series. I had in my collection for a long, long time, but eventually decided I got enough plays out of it that I was ready to open up that space, that mental space, the shelf space for other games. So it's a great series of games. I really appreciate it and enjoy it and recommend it, but ultimately Arion and Naughtion did leave. We have Ethnos from what's it called? Was it from CMON? I guess it's the CMON version. But Ethnos was a game that I still to this day enjoy. I was very excited when they were doing a reprint, and then very less excited when I saw the reprint. But I think Ethnos is a great game that has a terrible design and components, and that does hold back a game for me. I held on to Ethnos for several years, but eventually did decide to get rid of it. And then lastly, we have Lorenzo El Magnifico, which I actually went through, I played Lorenzo way back when, enjoyed it, but not enough to keep it, and then got the expansion, got it all back, and really liked it, and had it in my collection for several more years before it finally left a few months ago, because again, just too many Euro games fighting for my time and attention that I prefer more than I do Lorenzo. Lorenzo always has a bit too much of a crunch where I feel like I'm fighting a little bit too hard to get things done, which which is a good strategic feeling, but for me, I'd rather the Euro games that let me feel a little bit more powerful and cool as I do things. I like feeling cool when I play games. I'm trying to escape reality after all. The number crunching of I can't get this done is not as personally satisfying for me. Don't get me wrong, Lorenzo Magnifico, especially with the expansion, excellent game, really recommend it. It just lost out to other games instead. Those are the category games that were new to me in 2019 and have since left. Well, I kept them, then left. For the category games that I kept from 5 years ago, we have the Grim Masquerade, which that one's more of the kids collection again. Grim Masquerade, my daughter loves it. She played it. She still plays it. So it's been doing just fine for 5 years now and it's sticking around. We have Tapestry, which has seen an interesting journey. Tapestry, when I first played it, was good. And Tapestry, when I continued to play it, well, Tapestry, I had an arc. I got Tapestry, played it a few times, thought it was good, and then let it go. Then I got it back years later to try the solo mode, because I'd heard good things about that. Didn't work for me enough, and so I got rid of it. Then I started playing on Board Game Arena, and I really enjoy it, so it's back again, and Tapestry is a game that has been on a bit of a journey, but I think I like it enough that I just kind of want to hold on to it at this point. There's lots of expansions, lots of content. It's a bit of a sleeper hit for me, a weird situation, but a game that I like enough that it's still here 5 years later. And then lastly, we have Massive Darkness, which is an interesting one because depends how you count this, because Massive Darkness on its own I don't think would be good enough to last 5 years, but Massive Darkness then got joined by Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape, and the combination of them means I first played Massive Darkness 5 years ago, and 5 years later, Massive Darkness 2 and Massive Darkness 1 are together and here in my collection. And that is basically your Where Are They Now? I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but again, the general goal of this series is to not just get those flash in the pan reviews that are popping out today, tomorrow, all the new games coming through, but rather to get a sense of, over time, which games actually, which games did I hold on to? Which games did I eventually left? Which games are still here a year later or 5 years later? I think that is far, far better information, even if it's rapid fire in a short video, than just saying, hey, this game is good, and moving on to the ebb and flow of a million games that are good, but which ones really lasted. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.